Good morning, y'all. So WWE Fastlane was last night, and for a show with low expectations, I thought it was surprisingly good. We went into the show with only 5 matches listed, and I thought majority of them actually delivered. And we got some new champions, so it's pretty newsworthy. So that being said, let's get into the show. Actually, before we get too deep into things, if you haven't already, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow this account for more wrestling content like this. So like I said, this was a pretty small card, only 5 matches. So that being said, they actually gave each match time. Like each match went at least 15 or more minutes. Which, one thing AEW tends to do is they tend to give their matches time. But the difference between AEW and a show like this is that AEW has, 14 matches. And the show starts at 8 and ends at midnight. This show had 5 matches, each getting 15 or plus minutes. So that being said, the show managed to still end on time, just a little bit shy of 11 o'clock. And it was a third of what the typical AEW pay-per-view match card consists of. I don't want to see 5 pay-per-view cards every single month. I don't think we should go to that extent. But every once in a while, throwing us a small card like this, I can do with that. Now let's talk about the first match. The show opened with the Judgment Day defending the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championships against Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. Now, as I said in my predictions, this is a makeshift tag team. Like, I get, Cody Rhodes has beef with Judgment Day. He has beef with Dominic Mysterio back in the summer. And Jey Uso is currently beefing with the Judgment Day. So the tag team makes sense for this pay-per-view alone. But does it make sense to put the tag team titles on them? In the moment, I didn't really feel like it did. So my prediction was that the Judgment Day was going to retain. The match itself, I thought was really damn good. They gave this match almost 30 minutes. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. The first 10 minutes were not super enthusing. But as they progressed, we got more hot tags from Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. And people were running all over the place and doing spots. And Damian Priest went through the announce table. He was selling a leg injury, which I thought would play more into the show. And it didn't, which was dumb. Everybody was hitting finishers and getting near falls. The crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." It was a really good to great atmosphere to start off this show. And after a super kick and a basically an alternate version of the 1D, Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso came out with the victory and are your new tag team champions. I was shocked. I didn't see it coming. And like I said, at first, I didn't see the vision, but now that I think about it more, Cody Rhodes has beef with Roman Reigns. Jey Uso had pre-existing beef with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline and the Judgment Day. They're not together, but they're intertwined. So it makes sense. However, I think one part that we can't look over is the fact that this guy cost this guy the World Heavyweight Championship, the Undisputed Championship of WrestleMania. So I guess Cody Rhodes has amnesia to an extent, but otherwise, I'm liking this pairing. I'm curious to see what they do. It's not going to be a long-lasting pairing, but I think it definitely buys them some time leading up to the Royal Rumble. I would give this match 4.25 out of 5 stars. I thought it was hitting on all fronts, and it's definitely a match that I feel like people can look at and be like, okay, this was a very enjoyable tag team match. It's not winning match of the year or anything, but it fired on all cylinders. I enjoyed it. After that, we had the LWO versus the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley. The big question was who from the LWO was going to team with Rey Mysterio. Was it going to be Santos or Cruz or Raul? And it was Santos and nobody else. The match started off as a 3-on-2, which I thought was a dumb way to start off the match, honestly. They went at each other for about a good solid 5 minutes, which was just nothing really inspiring up until Carlito came out to a changed alternate version, a worse version of his theme song. Why did they change it? I have no clue. Whoever made that call, I wish that person nothing but food that is hot on the outside and cold in the middle whenever they microwave it. Y'all know when y'all heating up leftovers and then the food is like fucking cold in the middle, but then somehow on the outside it's hot. Like, yeah, I wish that type of energy on that person. Fuck you. The LWO got the win, and I thought the match was pretty missable, in my opinion. I would give this match 3 stars. He did absolutely nothing for me, and I hope to see Carlito around more often, just with this old team back. What a shame. Rest in spaghetti, never forgetty. Io Sky defended her women's championship against Asuka and Charlotte Flair. At face value, I feel like every fan could see the talent involved in this match and expect there to be greatness. And it wasn't the best match on the card, but it was really damn good as well. I thought it was leagues better than the SummerSlam match between Charlotte, Asuka, and Bianca Belair, where the chemistry there was just kind of odd. This one was just a really good mix, especially because you have Io and Asuka who specialize in that Joshi style wrestling. So when they went at it, it was hard hitting. It just felt so seamless. Asuka and Charlotte have had matches in the past, so you know they have good chemistry, even though Charlotte always fucking beats Asuka. And Io versus Charlotte is a match that hasn't really been explored too much, so it's still pretty fresh and new. So all combinations in this sense really worked. And I'm not going to sit here and say they were doing anything super crazy in this match, but I believe the best spot in this match was when Io Sky was on the top rope with Charlotte, and Charlotte got Io up in this fireman's carry position on the middle rope, and I was like, what are they going to do? And then Asuka, we've seen the Tower of Doom spot 100 gazillion times in multi-man matches. It's basically a done to death spot. But Asuka does it from like the fireman's position carry that Charlotte has on Io. So I'm like, how is she gonna fall? Is it gonna be like a Samoan drop? Is it gonna be like a flipping? Like it could have ended a lot of different ways, and I think the imagination is what made it seem so cool. The spot was just really cool. Bayley came out towards the end of this match, and I guess I've been watching wrestling for way too long, because when Bayley came out, the way the camera was positioned and the way there was a lot of time being focused on Bayley and Io, I thought for a split second Bayley was going to turn on Io. And if she did, I was going to be mad, because why are we doing a turn? I know I've been saying for the longest time that Bayley's character has been all but, not diminished, but brought down by a lot since being a Damage Control, because she mainly is there to take the falls. She's obviously elevating the talent of Io Sky and Dakota Kai by having them take all the wins, which is great. But at some point, you need to start winning yourself, and I feel like that's something Bayley's character doesn't do. She doesn't win much of anything this time around. So her turning on Io because she's jealous would make sense. But Io only won that title in August, so I'm not ready for her to lose the title just yet. So I got a little scared, and thankfully there was no turn. He didn't even tease one. It was just my mind because I've been watching this promotion for too long. In the midst of Bayley distracting the referee, Charlotte has Asuka in the figure eight and Asuka taps out, but the referee's back is turned. And that pissed me off because on a personal level, I love Asuka. She's my favorite women's wrestler. She's been my favorite women's wrestler for like 8 years now. But Asuka and Charlotte, they had this thing where every time they're involved in a match with each other, unless it's a multi-man match, Charlotte fucking beats her. And they don't acknowledge it like it's a storyline, like, oh, Asuka's eventually going to get her win back. She just fucking loses all the damn time to her. So thankfully, the referee's back was turned, because otherwise Charlotte would be a 15-time champion. Which I had my money on, and I was thankfully wrong. Io Sky capitalized on Charlotte being in a figure eight position, hit her moonsault, got the pin, and retained the women's championship. Which was the right call to make. Io Sky is still in the infancy stages of her reign. Still plenty of opponents and feuds left to go. As for the match itself, I'd give it 4 stars. It didn't light my world on fire, but it was an enjoyable match. And it had the right outcome, so we can't really be too mad at this match. I do want to see Asuka and Io at least get one singles match for that title. I know we had one on SmackDown. I don't remember if that was for the title or not, but we didn't get everything we could out of it. So I need one pay-per-view singles match without Charlotte. Just one. That's all I ask of you, Triple H. I know you want to do it. So just stop playing and do it. LA Knight and John Cena versus the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso was largely good. See, this match had a very exciting hot tag spot with LA Knight getting in the ring, getting in a mix, and going after the Bloodline. And then John Cena came back, and they were hitting their spots, and then they won the match. It was awesome. That's really the abbreviation of this match, honestly. And if this match was like the last 5 minutes, it would have been like on the moon. But a lot of this match felt like plunder. It felt like Cena buying time in between brawls with Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso, and then every once in a while, LA Knight gets into the mix, but it's mainly John Cena taking damage. We've seen John Cena do his Super Cena Hulk up spots. We're used to it. It's fun in 2023, but, you know, in a 17-minute match, it can be kind of like, ugh. I would love to see Solo Sikoa and John Cena face off at some point, singles-wise, kind of like Umaga and John Cena from, like, Royal Rumble 2007. That'd be dope. But with the SAG-AFTRA strike seemingly coming to an end soon, I don't know what the likelihood of that is going to be. Like I said, Cliff Notes, mainly 10 minutes like, and then the last 7 minutes, LA Knight and John Cena had their hot tag spots, and they got the win. I'd give the match 3.5 out of 5 stars. It do what it do. Better than a 6-man. Not gonna light your world on fire, though. Now touching on the main event of Fastlane, we had Seth Rollins defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Shinsuke Nakamura in a last man standing match. I enjoyed this match way more than I thought I was going to. At this point, we already know Shinsuke Nakamura has slowed down, is kind of watered down from his NXT run in 2016, and definitely from his New Japan run in like 2015 and before that. Seth Rollins has been in workhorse mode for like 10 years now, so he's still rocking and rolling, but he obviously is having back issues, so he's not performing at top-notch quality that he normally can. But I felt like this match was able to bring the best out of both men. There was weapons used. We had the kendo sticks, we had your trash cans, we had your steel chairs, your tables, your typical match weaponry you would see in any type of Extreme Rules match, right? Nothing truly inventing the wheel. Shinsuke dominated like majority of this match and was getting a lot of the falls. I mean, Seth Rollins was really selling the hell out of the back. There was one point it went towards the outside, like towards the back, and he fell off of the off this like basically out of the crowd onto the concrete floor, which we saw the platform that he fell on. So you couldn't even say that for real, for real. He was selling that, and he got up at the count of 10. He got in the ring, and Shinsuke basically Kinshasa'd him through a table, and he got up. That time, he rolled on the outside of the ring and stood up, which I thought was really smart. Then they got to the announce table. Shinsuke gets a ladder and pushes Seth off the ladder onto the announce table. It had this pose, and that seemed like the finish of the match, honestly. Now, I still didn't buy for a second that Shinsuke was going to win, but that could have been the match finish. And Seth got up. And I'm like, well, shit, I wonder what the finish is going to be now. Like, how is Seth going to top, falling off the top of a platform, falling off the top of a ladder, and getting Kinshasa through a table? Not to mention, he also got dumped on his back on the concrete on the outside before that spot, too. So that's like 4 spots that could have ended the match that Seth got out of. They went into the crowd again. Shinsuke gets Falcon arrowed 1 foot off of tables onto more tables, and then he falls, and that's it. Seth Rollins retains the World Heavyweight Championship in a good match that I thought had a very underwhelming finish. You've been selling Seth's back for like literally 2 months, and he got up every single time, but Shinsuke gets Falcon arrowed off of 1 foot onto tables when he's not really selling his back too much, and he doesn't get up. Is Seth a superhuman? Like, I didn't get that logic much at all. I'd give this match 4 stars. With a better finish, it would have been 4.25. The real question now is, what does Seth do after shit? Because we should not be getting a third match. Shinsuke has lost decisively twice in a row. There is no reason to revisit a third time. I know Shinsuke's utility guy. You can insert him into a championship feud 3 times over, like they did in 2018 with AJ and 2019 with Jinder, but we don't need to do that. We know he's going to lose. What do you do with Seth Rollins? I mean, obviously Gunther is the best answer, but I would do that at like Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. The only person I'm seeing on the card that makes sense would be Drew McIntyre. I know he just recently turned heel or is in the process of turning heel. Obviously, it's a top name, former WWE champion. I feel like that makes perfect sense to go up against Seth Rollins. Whether you have Drew beat him, I don't. You can go either way with that, but I think Drew should be the next guy. At least that's what I would do. Overall, Fastlane is a solid 7 out of 10. I thought it was a good show, very consumable, 3 hours passes by pretty easily, and I would love to see them do that format again. What did you guys think? Comment down below. Let me know. Talk to you guys soon.